Hello and welcome back to the Rule of Two show here on the C Cinema Reviews channel. We're very sorry for last week not having an episode. We had some
Our minds were just blown by Solo.
maybe we had some really terrible technical difficulties. It would have been the quality of the audio would have been I would say 10 to 20 times worse than you're used to. So we didn't want to put some. I didn't personally want to put something out that you guys would be like, this sounds horrible. So I'd rather have quality over quantity. So this week we're doing episode 15, and with me, as always, is Misa Sista.
So,
Yes. Last week we did an hour-long episode, which
2 weeks ago.
last last week.
Oh.
Last week was an hour-long episode when we did nothing but Solo, a Star Wars story, and then the
Yes.
technical difficulties happened with the post-production or editing, which I was really ashamed of because we had a lot of fun doing that. But this week, since I have done my own dedicated review of Solo, you can see that. I'll put the link in the description, and that is on the channel already. So I'm gonna try not to talk as much. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let her give her thoughts on the movie. Everything on that, and then our second topic today will be the land. Well, we'll get into some Ron Howard stuff, and then our second topic will be the Lando comic, which just came out this past week. It is the first issue of the new Lando comic. Lando. I don't know if Double or Nothing is the actual title of the little series. Yeah, it is. Okay, so Lando Double or Nothing. So yeah, that'll be our last topic for today. If you would like to see any of the other episodes, they are on the channel. They're in a playlist, so definitely check those out if you haven't seen them. If you want to tell us your thoughts on any of the topics we have today or something we should talk about in the future, tell us either in the comment section down below, or we have a Facebook page. It is facebook.com/ccinemareviews page. So definitely check that out. And then we're also on Twitter at @ccinemareviews. So we definitely want to hear your thoughts on any of the topics or telling us a topic we should talk about in the future. With that being said, subscribe if you haven't already. So with all that being said, let's get into Solo, a Star Wars story. I'll just say this. I liked it.
I liked it too. I think it's not groundbreaking, but it is, or within in terms of like Star Wars movies, it's not the best one. It's not the worst one. It's somewhere in the middle. If you're just going to have a good, fun time, you'll definitely get that. The story, it didn't quite flow as well as I wanted it to, and I did have some issues with it, in terms of like characters and just certain things that happen. I would have liked them to happen differently.
Right.
Um,
But that, to me, that's always gonna happen when you do the origin of
Sure.
someone. You're not gonna get every little detail right.
Right. There's so much about Han Solo that they put, like, that you want to know and they put in there, and that's great. And sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't. I definitely thought that the acting was really good. I thought that both Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover as Han Solo and Lando,
Calrissian.
yes, they did a good job. I liked Alden as Han better than I liked Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. Just take that with whatever. I thought the droid in the movie, and we'll talk more about the droid
L337.
in the comic book.
Played
I
by
really liked her.
Played by
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah,
She was really good. Chewie, obviously amazing.
Yep.
Like his introduction, everything was great.
Chewie's physicality was something that we'd never seen before, which I enjoyed.
Sure.
Yeah.
I liked this. Yeah, I liked the story. I liked just everything that went down in the movie was really cool. That I did have some issues with certain things. I don't want to get into spoilers. So
we'll get into spoilers in a bit. We'll keep it spoiler free for a couple more minutes, and then we'll get into spoilers.
So yeah, the music to me didn't stand out.
Right.
And
yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it was okay. The music, at least.
And the villain, I liked it.
Dryden Voss.
Played by Paul Bettany.
Paul.
I really enjoyed it. He was villainous. He was great. He had amazing scars and stuff. There's a lot of double crossing going on,
which was really cool. I mean, when you have a smuggler criminal type of movie, you expect that, like, it's what you expect, but it's not. To me, it wasn't to the point where it was like, oh, I knew that was gonna happen, you know.
Yeah. So, and the world around these characters was also really good. I thought it was very dense and dirty, like kind of nowhere that you go except for maybe Dryden Voss's place is like
nice,
sleek and clean.
Yeah.
It's not like you never even.
It's not the Empire.
Even when you do see the Empire, it's still like dirty and not fun to be around.
Yeah, Corellia was like, when there's a comic, I have one of the other Star Wars comics, one of the old Dark Horse comics here, and they actually go to Corellia, and it's nice.
Oh, really?
Like, it's like Naboo kind of nice. Like, a different architecture of everything, but they got like little ponds and things. But it, like, Corellia looks really nice in the old Dark Horse comics. In this movie, not so much.
No, but I liked introductions and, you know, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's so much you could just talk about, but I've had like a while to think about it, this movie, and I like it more than I dislike it. I like the good things about it outweigh the bad things, I guess. So I'm really excited for it. I'm excited that it happened. I'm glad that it happened. I didn't need it, but
yeah, of course.
Glad that I got it. So
I'm grabbing the comic so I could show my sister, because it's like, in this old Dark Horse comic, it's one of the old X-Wing Rogue Squadron. It's like Corellia in this comic is really not, like, it's almost like a vacation spot. Like this one right here.
Oh,
like,
wow,
it's super
really nice.
It's super to technology, looks really nice. There's a river, there's like water fountains, there's really cool looking buildings. Like, Corellia, at least in this comic, looks like a vacation spot. In Solo, nah.
It looks like a business planet.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, well, because in all the EU, like, Corellia, and even in the new canon, Corellia is a place where they make a lot of the ships.
Yeah.
And so, like, ships are like super important in the Star Wars universe, so it makes sense that they would be rich. It would be a rich planet if you made all these things.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I can get past the stuff that I didn't like.
Right.
And
well, okay.
I had a good time.
So let's go into the spoilers. So from now on, there will be spoilers for Solo: A Star Wars Story. Because I did my own spoiler review, but she hasn't. At least you haven't heard her thoughts on some of the things that are spoiler-ific.
Yes. Okay, so
you have been warned.
There's a love story, basically.
Between Han and Kira?
Han and Kira. It was fine. I didn't really care for it.
Right.
I felt like they didn't have as much chemistry as I would have wanted. The way Han Solo got his name, I wasn't too...
The way he got his last name.
His last name, yes. Solo. It was very on the nose and I didn't like it. But I can deal with it. I didn't like Lando all that much. The way he was played, his character, like what he did in the movie, I didn't care for it so much. He was fine. I didn't hate him, but he was not. I mean, that's not really spoilery, but I just didn't care for it. I thought that, like, there are certain things that happen in the movie that are, you know, they're kind of ingrained in our mind. The 12 parsecs, his blaster, like different things that we want to know about. And I thought that some things like the 12 parsecs that was less defined than I wanted it to be. Just like certain things like that, I was like, eh.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen more of it or something, but I like the way he got his blaster. He shoots first.
Fun. Yeah, shoots first almost all the time in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of deaths in the movie.
Which is...
L3 dies. Val dies. Beckett dies. Like, a lot of people are dying.
Han shoots Beckett. It was pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. The way Val died, she was maybe, like, the most heroic death. L3 kind of dies, and the way Lando, like, picks her up and everything, it was kind of sad. I thought that was a really good way to do mourning for Lando. Like, he actually mourned for her. He wasn't crying for her or anything like that. Like, he felt for this droid. And I felt that he felt for the droid.
Right.
What did you think about the double cross of Beckett? Like, did you think he was coming back when he leaves? Because, like, he says that he leaves, but he actually double crosses Han.
Yeah, I didn't think he was coming back. But then, so he double crosses Han, and then he double crosses Dryden. Anyway, right. So there's a lot of, like...
It was pretty cool.
That. Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
It was a lot, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah, and the reveal of him doing the double cross, it wasn't a huge reveal. Like, it was a big reveal, but it wasn't like it wasn't the Kaiser Soze, like, what? Like, mind-blowing reveal. It was like, oh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, especially since earlier in the movie he says, like, don't trust anybody.
Right. That should have been, like, Kira our first red flag.
Yeah. Kira kind of double crosses him, but she doesn't actually hurt him in the process.
Right. She just leaves.
Yeah, she just leaves because... I mean, spoilers, Maul's back.
Maul is back.
So I was thinking about this today. If you're just watching the movies, you think Maul is dead entire time.
And that's the problem that people have. I was literally just talking to one of my friends on my phone who lives across the country, and he was like, wait, Mala is back? And I was just like, no.
For me,
like, yes.
For me, a person who's watched Clone Wars, who's watched Rebels,
this
wasn't a new thing. He had died before.
It was a
came
great
back.
Reveal, though.
He died again, came back in Rebels, and now he's like, this guy has so many second wins. Like, I'm telling you. But for people that are just movie watchers,
because people love him.
He's coming back. Like this is his first time back.
And that's something that you gotta know about Maul. To me, Maul is almost. He may not be more beloved than Boba is, but in my opinion, would I rather have a Maul or Boba? I would rather have a Maul. Like, he's that character to me.
Sure, yeah. I love Maul too. Like, I thought it was good. The lightsaber was a bit much. It was like they didn't want to be the first movie to not have a lightsaber, you know? But actually, Ron Howard did an interview. Ron Howard
did talk about that.
Where he was like... we shot it twice because the first time it wasn't, Maul enough. And they were like, did you add the lightsaber? He was like, we added the lightsaber.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about is Ron Howard did an interview with Slash Film.
Yeah.
Where he talked about the cameo of Maul and how when... And this could I guess be like topic 1.5. But it has to do with Solo. So, like, Ron Howard talked about the Maul cameo, and he said that when John and Lawrence, I think John is the sons, right? Kasdan.
Well, we can get into that after if you want.
Oh, we can do it now, but because we're talking about Maul, he was like, when they were writing that scene, they wrote it pretty much as a quote-unquote boss character. They didn't know it was going to be Maul, and it was kind of Ron Howard's idea. Like, he championed Maul to be...
Maul was one of the candidates. I guess they must have had several people to be this, boss overlord.
Yeah, it would have been cool to... I would like to see that list, though.
Yeah,
that list would be, like, a really, tasty nugget of information for me.
But we did have some empty space in between, like, I guess, Clone Wars and Rebels.
Right.
To where we didn't know what Maul was up to. I know, and
we still...
Really.
We still don't.
But, so I like the cameo. I thought it was fine placement.
Yeah.
It was a great reveal. They started from the back, hood, metal
legs.
metal foot. So yeah, it was really cool. But the ending where Han gets the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
I thought that was the best scene because you see a parallel from Empire to Solo where Lando, he's like almost scared when he sees Han and Chewie coming at him, and Han does the same exact thing where he like grabs him like he does in Empire. He's like
mad at him for a minute.
Yeah, and then he grabs him, and Lando's been cheating on card games with this sort of device in his sleeve, and Han takes the card that is sort of his trump card, I guess.
Yeah.
And they play for the Falcon, and it's like, it's the best scene ever. Like, I love that ending scene there.
And then when Han tells Chewie, "We're gonna go Sky," there's this crime lord on Tatooine, and it was like, ooh, there we go.
Right.
One thing that I do want to talk with Maul on is I want to talk about Maul. Is this notion that like people don't like it because he's dead, and to me, that cameo is the same as, and this is a spoiler from a movie that came out in 2008. So come at me, bro. To me, that cameo is the same as Nick Fury's first post-credit scene in Iron Man, where you just have this character who's just out there and he's kind of the leader of something, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. And I was talking to my friend who lived across country, and he was like, it was too much of a cameo for me. And I'm like, look, you know, Sam Jackson was in there for 2 minutes and people lost their mind. Yet Maul is in this movie for, you know, maybe 2 minutes. I don't know. It was probably shorter than that. Maul's maybe in this for less than that. And it was set up that he is still alive in Clone Wars and Rebels. That is set up that he's still alive. And in this one, they're like, no, it's too much of a cameo. I'm like, dude, Marvel does this all the time, yet you lose your mind. But, like, when you watch something like Star Wars, it's like, no, Star Wars can't have cameos. Like, really? Yeah. Really?
I do think you could have put sort of any character that was known in the past, and it would have been...
It would have worked.
Yeah, it would have worked, but I'm glad that it was him, like because I love Maul.
Who else are you going to do? Like, Dooku's dead. Like, any villain, like, proper villain, if you put Jabba the Hutt, it wouldn't have been the same, because that's not... The Hutts are their own crime syndicate. Sure. Like, why would he be over Crimson Dawn?
But I enjoyed the fact that it was Maul.
It was Maul, yeah.
One last thing, I keep seeing it, like, I think in trailers... But, because, like, I go back and... sometimes I go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do that. And there's the part where Han first sits down in the Falcon, and he's almost about to touch, and then L3 comes and, like, get out of my chair, man. And he turns around and looks at Kira, and he kind of gives her this little shrug, like, you know, I had to try. And I just think that's so cute, because it's like, right... It's before he's gotten his ship, and it's such a, like... This is what he was before we see him in the originals, you know?
You never heard of the Millennium Falcon, you know?
Right. He's so, like he's not arrogant yet. He's not the Han with, like, all of this...
He wants to prove
smuggler.
himself.
Yeah, he's... Just that shrug is just like, don't worry, man. You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And I really like the way... I totally forgot that it was... Well, I guess I didn't totally forget, but it melded for me. His character from the end of this, I could totally see at the end of this movie him becoming the Han we know.
Yeah.
And I think Alden did a great job of just playing that part, and I was completely fine. He's Han.
Yeah.
For that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Till we get Harrison Ford.
Of course. One other thing that Ron Howard did talk about with Slash Film was that right now, this could be a total lie, so take it with a grain of salt, but he said that right now there's no plans for a sequel to Solo.
I believe him.
I do too, because, you know, they want to make the Obi-Wan movie, they want to make the Boba Fett movie, hopefully they make the Maul movie, you know, and so I think that this is true, and I wouldn't mind not having a second Solo movie. Regardless of the fact that it didn't make as much money at the box office as they would like it to have, it's still a really fun movie. I think it's a good movie. But I do think that there are other stories to tell.
Yeah.
I do think that there are other stories to tell for characters who haven't been in the limelight as much as Han Solo.
Mhm.
And I think that you definitely should consider giving those other characters their due, because that's how you make the next Han Solo. That's how you make the next hero.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't want another one. And I don't want. There was also some talk of this being there being a through line of Maul being in this one, and then in the Boba Fett one he would also be, and then maybe in the Obi-Wan. But I don't want that.
I don't think he'll be in the Obi-Wan.
No, just because I think he'll be dead by that
right.
point. But no, I don't.
The Boba Fett.
I don't want a sequel.
The Boba Fett one could work. He could be in the Boba Fett one. Yeah,
sure. But I don't want that to happen. Right. I don't want there to be a through line. I just want these to be separate little stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need or want a Solo sequel.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree. Actually, for one time in our lives, as far as the movies, I totally agree that I don't want a next Solo. I think that this one is good enough to hold me for that time, before we meet him in episode 4. I genuinely don't think we need another one. If they do give us another one, I will watch it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the jokes landed.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun and funny, and I had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and just for the record, I also don't want a Boba Fett movie, at all.
Well, yeah.
Ever.
I want a Maul movie. They should skip Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, in my opinion.
No.
And give us a Maul movie. Anyway, let's move on to the Lando comic. This one just came out. Let me see who the writers are and everything. The writer is Rodney Barnes. The artist is Paolo Villanelli. The colorist Andres Mossa. And then everyone else.
That's it.
The cover art, which is great, is by W. Scott Forbes. I think he did really good. The cover art, it is Lando from the Solo movie.
Yeah,
Donald Glover's
Donald
Lando.
Glover.
Yeah.
Although
which is great.
I feel like he kind of, because while you're reading it, I think he blends the two guys together a little bit.
Yeah. It's not like a Glover spot on.
Exact,
But to me, I think it's a really fun start to this journey that he's going on for this series. So
I love L3 and him in this. Their relationship is so amazing, as in the movie as well.
It definitely, yeah.
The connectivity between the movie and this, at least this first comic, is so good. They're just the way they talk to each other and they are with each other. Yeah. It's just I love these guys.
Yeah, they totally have a lot of they've been with each other for a long time. I really enjoy that Lando wants to turn the Falcon into a mini casino.
Oh, and we've stopped talking spoilers, right? For
Oh yeah.
I feel like we
didn't say that. Yeah. Don't worry, but there'll be spoilers probably for this Lando comic, but if you care about spoilers for a Lando comic, you should have picked it up this last week. Okay? I don't care if you had work or something. You had a whole week to do it.
Anyway, I like the art. It's a good beginning of the story.
Yeah.
It's not we haven't started. They're just barely getting to the story, I think.
Right.
So
I'll just run down the story right now. So there's this planet Kulgrun, and it's the Empire's enslaving the people, and so there's this girl. There's this girl whose father... Christus, yes. Whose father is enslaved, and so she's trying to get... the stormtrooper... There's not a lot of stormtroopers on the planet at this moment in the story, And so she's trying to get to someone to smuggle in some weapons and then trying to smuggle the people out of the planet. So that's where she goes to get Lando to do the smuggling, obviously.
Right.
The Falcon's in here, obviously. L3 is maybe like the best part of this little comic because of like all of what she says when Christus and Lando are talking, how Lando's like trying to be all smooth and everything, and L3 like you know, under her breath, she's undercutting everything that he's saying. It's so good. So good.
She's great. Like, I love her rhetoric. It's so funny and just kind of like dry humor.
And this lady, I guess she is from Kulgroon, but like their species, Kulgroon, Kullgroon, Kullgroon. But like their species is like a purple pinkish. They've got like elf kind of ears. They got some cool markings on their face. They look like a really cool people. I dig the design of these people.
Mhm. They wear nice red capes too.
Red capes, no capes. No capes.
With hoods.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. You see
it's a cloak, it's not a cape.
Sorry, you see, there's another dude who's like coming after Lando for cheating him in some cards. Which, of course, there's a guy coming after Lando for cheating in cards.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun read. There's some cool stuff in here. Like we said, it's just the first issue, so you're not gonna get like some great spoiler reveals or anything like that. They do have a battle with a couple TIE fighters. So L3 is like flying, and then Lando's in the gunner's position. They do this really cool maneuver where they like do a 90-degree turn, in the Falcon around an asteroid or a little moon, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I dig it. All the interactions between everybody, like the writing's great. I do think the writing's great, especially L3 and Lando.
There is like a small kiss that happens.
Yeah, but it's
which
more
I didn't like, but
to me that was kind of like Leia when she kissed Luke in Episode 4 on the cheek, and she was like, "For luck," you know.
Sure.
Because they were kind of getting out of the place.
But I didn't like it.
I mean, it's Lando. Dude is smooth. Dude is smoother than.
He definitely does not kiss her. She kisses him.
Yeah, she kisses him, but I think it's more to get him to do the job.
Sure, yeah. She's using her womanly wiles.
Mm-hmm. You gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think it's a great start to this little journey he's gonna go on.
It kind of starts with him talking about, like, how dangerous the galaxy is, and then straight into him, like, saying he wants a giant painting of himself and, like, better seat cushions and, like,
he wants, like, Severian skin couches and a wet bar.
And it kind of comes back to haunt him because later on they're in the fight and he's, like, saying stuff and L3 is like, well, we needed better shields. I could have told, like, I tell you that all the time. I could put those skins up there, like, around the ship, but we'll see how they do.
Yeah, he wants all of their credits to go to making the Falcon, like, as nice and as luxurious as it could be. And she's like, we need shields and a defense system. You know, she's the practical one. He's the Lando one, I guess you would say.
Yeah, he's very Lando.
It's a great back and forth between them two. I want to see where this goes. Obviously, they're probably gonna like smuggle these people off. I'd like to see some cool ways to smuggle people and smuggle weapons into this place, Kullgroon. That would be pretty interesting to see like the clever ways he could do some smuggling.
Right.
He there's this one part where the dude who's coming after him for some credits like grabs him on the shoulder and he's like, hands off the cape. Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's very Lando.
Yeah, I would say definitely I would say pick up this issue. If you enjoyed Lando and Solo, this is pretty much him and L3 on another adventure. If you enjoyed them in Solo, A Star Wars Story, and if you enjoy the character, I'd say pick up this issue. It's a brand new series. So it's not like you have to have 20 issues before to know the story. It's the first issue, and I'm super interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, and if you're his original series, I'm not sure what that was called. I think it was just Lando.
Yeah.
But that one was also really good.
Yeah, Lando has some of the...
I remember really enjoying his first, like, 6-issue series, I think it was.
Yeah.
So,
Cat people.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
but
Black
Lobot
Panthers.
in that, Lobot, who kind of becomes an L3, just not so, like, wordy.
Yeah.
There's some stuff with Lobot in that series, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like Lando a lot, they're coming out with some good stuff for him.
I would say check it out. You know, go to your local comic book store, go to Comixology or wherever you get your comics. I'd say check it out. It's a good read. Anyway, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of The Rule of Two. Again, I'm sorry that we didn't have an episode out last week, but technical difficulties. That's, like, trust me, I want these to be, I want these to be getting out there. I want to put them up every week. And so, like, if you were down that we didn't have an episode, I'm sorry, but so was I. Like, I was down that we didn't have an episode because I like the consistency.
Sure.
I think it's great. But we thank you so much for watching this or listening to this episode. There could be plans to put this on iTunes. Could be. Not promising anything. There could be. But that is something I would like to look into so that you didn't have to have your, YouTube opened all the time. Or you can listen to it on your phone. That would be fun to do. Looking into that, no promises yet, but definitely, if you haven't seen Solo, watch it. I would say check out the Lando comic too. We thank you so much. Don't forget to tell us your thoughts either in the comments section down below or on the Facebook page or on Twitter. Again, those links are in the description. And check out any of the other episodes if you'd like to see them. They're all on the channel. We thank you again, and may the Force be with you.
Always.